So welcome everyone. My name is Sarah Pike. I'm the Women's Business Center Director at WomenVenture. Really appreciate you being here. As you know, WomenVenture helps women at all stages within their entrepreneurial journey, from startup through growth, through training programs, and through lending. And so having Jessica be here to present about the Minnesota Cup, we're really excited to see how our WomenVenture community can really engage and plug into this great opportunity. So again, thanks for everyone being here. Really appreciate it. And Jessica, I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sarah, and thank you again to all of you for being here. We have done different events and been big partners and fans of WomenVenture for a long time, but I think this is the first time that I've had the opportunity to actually present just to a WomenVenture audience during our application window. So I'm super excited about that. Also, really a huge fan of the new WomenVenture CEO, Erin Horn McKinney. She was gracious enough to speak at one of Minnesota Cup's events during Feminist Days that took place this month. And so yeah, we're just love working with you all and love what you're all doing. So it's great to partner, and hopefully this will be a great opportunity for all of you who are listening in. So I'm going to introduce myself really quickly. My name is Jessica Berg. I'm the director of the Minnesota Cup. I'm going to start sharing my screen. So pause, because I'm a poor multitasker as I pull up the slides. But I have been in this role running the competition since late 2017. So 2021 will be my fourth season running the competition, and I really love the work. It's wild and crazy, but I wouldn't have it any other way. And I often feel like I really relate to the entrepreneurs who are competing in our competition every year, because it's just myself and one other full-time person, Jamie Bartlett, who you might see adding some links in the chat or answering questions. So Jamie and I are here as sort of a duo, but yeah, I'm just proud to support this community, and I'm really particularly passionate about women in entrepreneurship. So that's me. But now to talk about Minnesota Cup, let you know sort of what it is and what that means. Minnesota Cup is a new venture competition. It is based at the Home Center for Entrepreneurship at the Carlson School of Management. So we are a program of the University of Minnesota, but you don't have to have any affiliation with the University of Minnesota to compete or participate in any way. We are open to any entrepreneur across the state of Minnesota that wants to apply. The only other criteria or cap we have is that if your business is earning $1 million a year in revenue or more, then you're too mature or too large for us, which, people are like, that's a great problem to have. So I wish that for all of us. So I'm assuming that the vast majority of us together on this call don't have businesses that are that large yet, but we do absolutely want to see Minnesota businesses grow and scale and get huge and build wealth for their founders and create jobs in our wonderful state. So it is a competition, but we are really a community-led partnership. And what I say by what community-led means to me is that we would not be able to do any of the work that we do without the financial contributions and grants from a ton of different really fantastic Minnesota-based corporations, foundations, a couple endowments. Without that money, we wouldn't be able to operate. So we really run like a not-for-profit from like a staff and from a just like a financial standpoint. But the other half of that, or the other component of our work, is really driven by a tremendous community of volunteers who both judge our competition and actually make the decisions of who moves forward from one round to the next, and also a tremendous group of mentors that volunteer their time and their expertise in the second round of our competition. So we often pair up our companies, like one of the 90 semifinalist companies that are in the main part of our process every season, with two different really highly skilled mentors that they get to choose. So that's really unique, and really a big benefit that is really something that can build a relationship that those people can continue to support you well beyond just one competition season. So yeah, truly without the financial support of the organizations that sponsor us, and then also without those fantastic volunteers stepping up and really giving so much of their time and expertise to all of you and to founders across the state, we totally wouldn't be able to do this work. So what Minnesota Cup does, or what we offer, is in the format of a competition, but it includes completely free education sessions. So we teach a lot of sort of 101 or intro level classes that can be really useful to startups or people who even maybe don't think of themselves as an entrepreneur yet, but they're just like, oh, I have a side hustle, or I have an idea and I'd love to turn it into a business, but I don't know how. We're here for those ideas. And we're here for people at those really, really early stages. And so that education is a big part of what we offer. I mentioned the mentorship already. I would say that 75% of the people who go through our process say that the mentorship is the most valuable part of what they get out of our competition. And then we just offer all other types of resources, support, networking. We work with our companies that continue to advance and further in the competition with their with getting press, with just all different types of milestones depending on what your industry or space is. So we, again, do all of that with the help of a tremendous community of volunteers and supporters. I am very rarely directly involved in those things because we support so many different companies, but we're a competition, but it's a really supportive place. And everyone that's involved is doing so out of their own time and interest because they really want to see these companies succeed, and they really want to help the founders who are participating kind of avoid pitfalls or get connected to a service provider or just any other type of person in their network that might be able to help them get further. So it's it's a really wonderful group of people. The other big benefit, or another thing that you might hear about us or makes us really unique from other competitions and other like accelerator and incubator programs, is that we give away a bunch of money, which I love. It's a lot of work to fundraise it every year, but it's really unique nationwide to give away the amount of funding that we do when we take no equity in exchange. So it's not only free to participate and free to compete, but when we give away prize money, if someone goes on to win one of our division winning prizes or a prize funded by another organization, you get that money free and clear. We don't take any equity in exchange. We don't create parameters around how you're supposed to use it. It's just yours to invest in whatever part of your business needs it. So that's sort of at a high level what we do. Something else to share, which I think many of you probably know this, a lot of you I think embody this already, but I think it can be a common misconception that entrepreneurs are like 23-year-old white dudes who are like working on an app. And that's totally not the case. I mean, it's just not the case in general, that I think the average age of someone founding a new business is about 45. But Minnesota Cup really is a demonstration of that, and something we really work hard to be inclusive and not just kind of talk the talk, but also walk the walk with who shows up and how we support people as they go through our process. In 2019, I think it was the broadest age range of semifinalists we'd ever had. The youngest was 11 and the oldest was 81, and hailing from truly all across the state. So we mean it when we say all Minnesotans. We obviously are looking for, and our judges are searching for, companies that do have the opportunity to grow big and do have the opportunity to scale and make a big impact on our economy and on our community. But we don't care. We really care about the idea, and the founder doesn't have to look any particular way to us. Another thing that's unique about what we do is that we are industry agnostic. So we're partnered with, and we collaborate with a bunch of other really great entrepreneurial and small business support organizations, both in the Twin Cities and statewide. Which I should have a slide of all the logos of. So there's truly so many different people who are working to support founders here in this community, and it's one of the reasons that I love Minnesota. But we're one of the few that you can be doing literally anything and apply. You don't have to just be creating tech. You don't just have to be creating like a physical or a manufactured product. Truly anything, any concept is welcome. The one thing that you do have to do, however, is when you apply, you self-select into one of our 9 divisions. So the logos that you see here on this slide represent those 9 different divisions. They are education and training, energy, clean tech and water, food, ag and bev, student, which is sort of like an undergrad and grad school sort of stage division, general, which is a little bit of a catch-all, but tends to have a lot of direct to consumer products, a lot of like physical, like sellable items. We have people who submit inventions or things that are retail concepts, or have a manufacturing and sort of a supply chain component. You'll see a lot of those types of companies in general. We have life science and health IT, which is sort of like our med tech, biotech space. High tech, which we often get the feedback of like, man, nowadays, how do you have any type of company with no technology associated? And that's true. But this is a division for people who are really innovating, or like what's the secret sauce of their business is technology centric. So our high tech division has a lot of great people who have all different types of niche expertise in tech and are good at evaluating which of those types of concepts are really going to go the distance. Then we also have an impact ventures division, which is our social entrepreneurship division and designed around founders and startups that are focused on a mission-driven project. That it doesn't mean that you have to be a not-for-profit or a nonprofit to apply to that division, but we do have, nonprofits can apply there. We have a lot of, B Corps are really growing in those submissions. And we also have for-profit businesses that have sort of a double bottom line, or have really distinct central goals around social change or a mission alongside profitability. And all of those are welcome there. But if you're competing in impact ventures, it's important that like a mission or sort of social impact is central to what you're doing. And then last but not least, we have a youth division, which is exclusively for current and aspiring entrepreneurs who are 18 years old or younger. So that's a super cool, unique competition. We partner with a lot of other great organizations across the state that specifically serve youth, whether that's organizations that are like coding boot camps, or, sharing financial literacy, or one of our longest running partners is Junior Achievement of the Upper Midwest, and they really are there to impart young people with entrepreneurship skills and help them imagine and really learn the foundational skills around what it's like to sort of build something from scratch and not have to wait until they're older to start a company and start earning revenue for themselves. So those are the 9 divisions. I'm happy to answer more questions about them. And then we also have some specific info sessions and resources just about each one of those, because we get a lot of questions from people who don't quite know where they fit when they apply. So just know that's really common. It doesn't mean you're not well suited to compete. It just means you kind of have to do some thinking about where you should best position yourself when you apply. So the next up is a little bit of an overview of what the competition season looks like. So when you're competing in Minnesota Cup, what does that actually mean? What do you do? What are the expectations? And so right now we are in the time frame for our application round. So our applications opened on March 15th and they close on April 16th. So we're still a little bit earlier than halfway through. There's still absolutely ample time to start an application. You are not behind if you're just learning about it for the first time. We have plenty of people, though it like stresses me out a little bit, obviously. We have plenty of people who start and finish their application in one day. just those people who are crammers and like procrastinators. But I do encourage you to start sooner than the day they're due, just so that you have the best opportunity to present yourself well. But it's up there, it's open. It's available to you anytime up until midnight on April 16th, which is a Friday. Then during the month of May, those excellent volunteer judges that I mentioned across each of the 9 divisions, we have a unique group of humans that evaluate applications in each division, because all of those industries and spaces are pretty unique. So we do try to assign and are thoughtful about curating a group of people who really know that space to make those selections about who moves forward. And that happens during the month of May. Then we announce who is moving forward. And among all of, however many hundreds of companies apply, 90 companies move forward to the next round, and that is the top 10 companies in each of the 9 divisions. So sometimes that feels like, wow, that's like, what are the odds I actually get in? Like that seems super competitive, or what's the point? Or I'm not far enough along. And I would definitely say apply. We really have people every year who are shocked. They're like, I just like went for it, but I didn't actually think I would get selected. Truly every year. And we are designed and oriented around supporting early stage businesses. So don't count yourself out. And when we do make announcements about who moves forward, it will be at the end of May. And the meat of the competition for those 90 companies really begins in June and runs through the end of August. And what that means for us, sort of what we ask of people, is that you will work on a business plan, a pitch deck, and a 1-minute video. And that's when you have access to all of those education sessions, to the mentorship support. So getting to that top 10 spot in each division is really what unlocks the lion's share of our offerings and opportunities. But we also hear that just filling out the application and putting yourself out there, getting the feedback from our judges, whether you move forward or not, can be really useful and motivating to people. It kind of makes them feel like their idea is real. And we definitely have people who apply multiple years and don't maybe get in the first year, but then come back and move forward. So there's only, supporting 90 companies is a lot compared to organizations like ours. It's a big sort of cohort of people, but it's still way less than we would like to be able to support from, the number of applicants we receive. So I would just more than anything encourage you to put yourself out there and know that don't assume that you're not far enough along, or that you might not be a fit, and sort of let our judges make that decision and let them be helpful to you. The other thing to mention as I'm talking about that competition phase, or that like June to August timeframe, something else that's helpful to know is that we are very much a part-time and choose your own adventure competition. The vast majority of people competing in our competition have a lot of other commitments in their lives. And we do not expect that when you compete in Minnesota Cup that you're working on what we ask of you full time. Like, people are running a company, or their business is still a side hustle or a side project, and they're working a day job and then working on their new business idea at night or on the weekends, or have families, or are caretakers and leaders in their communities. And so one of the reasons that process is kind of long is that we want you to have ample time to work on those materials. A lot of people who compete every year have never made a business plan. They have never created a pitch deck. We're trying to teach you and support you as you create something that we're requiring for the competition, knowing that whether you win prize money or move on to the third round or not, that those are tools that you can then draw from and use over and over again. So we definitely hear from some people that it's like, whoa, that was a lot of work, or that was harder than I expected it to be. But everybody is always really grateful and happy that they invested the time they did, because then they're like, wow, without a deadline, I don't know if I ever would have done this. And we kind of create those parameters and create that deadline to get you moving and then support you while you do it. So then after that big round where 90 different companies create those materials and submit them to our judges one more time, we narrow down those companies to 3 finalists in each division so that it goes from 90 to 27. And in late August and early September, those companies do a more formal live pitch to the division judges. So that September, like early September timeframe, and then throughout September is when the real pitching takes place. So we shift a lot of our education and support around pitch coaching and helping you get prepared to like verbally deliver information about your company, which I've met maybe one person in my entire life who enjoys public speaking. So it's a commonly, it's really fun and empowering to go through that experience and sort of like work out your jitters and get really well practiced among a really supportive group of people. So that all takes place in September and in very late September. And this year it'll be Monday, September 20th is our final award ceremony. And that's the point at which we announce who all is taking home the dollars, a share of that $400,000 plus that I described at the beginning. It's definitely not winner take all. It's not that one person takes home $400,000. We have a bunch of different prizes that are awarded throughout, but that big celebration on Monday, September 20th is when a lot of it gets publicized and announced, and that's kind of the culmination of our season. So there's a lot more I could say about that. I'll come back to it and definitely be answering your questions at the end. So keep adding them to the chat, but I apologize that when I'm sharing my screen, it's really hard to open the chat at the same time. So yeah, don't hesitate to keep adding those questions, but I'll come back around to them. So then, as I mentioned, more than $400,000 in prizes, which we take no equity in exchange for. Division winners take home $25,000. The grand prize winner, so the person who even among the division winners takes home the whole thing, takes home an additional $50K. So they are, netting at least $75K when you win the whole competition, which is super significant when you think about a lot of times these are companies that maybe are a little too early staged or are just starting out on a journey of raising venture capital, or maybe they're bootstrapping and they're trying not to like take on outside investors, and that cash is they would be either funding that stuff out of their own pockets or taking out loans. So the fact that we can offer that and really accelerate what a company is able to achieve in a short amount of time with those funds is super powerful. We also, through the partnership of a lot of other great organizations like MEDA, the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development, a bunch of others, Securian Financial. We have a new prize from Midwest Dairy. We have a prize this year from the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency around green and sustainable chemistry. But particularly the Carlson Family Foundation fund some really excellent dedicated prizes, one for the top women-led company and one for the top veteran-led company. So those additional dollars sometimes go to people who've won divisions or other prizes already, and sometimes they just go to different founders who are doing something really unique. So we really do spread the money out. It depends on the season a little bit, but usually something in the neighborhood of 20 different companies are taking home a share of that $40,000. So we really just want to get dollars in the hands of founders, and the competition format is a way of helping to narrow towards who is at a stage and who knows what to do next and who has the right vision and plan in place to really put those dollars to good use. And this is just a few, I won't read all of these. This is just a few examples of some of the tremendous female founders that have taken home some significant cash in the past few years. Over the past 3 seasons, the grand prize winner of Minnesota Cup has been a woman. We had Anila Idnani Komar in 2018, Angie Zvorl Conley with Abilitech Medical in 2019, and then in 2020, a fantastic team of women took home the grand prize for Blue Cube Bio, which was a startup that came out of research from the University of Minnesota, and then they were working together and turning it into a business. So we really want to support and see competitive, excellent female-run businesses go through Minnesota Cup. And so this is just a small sampling of people who've taken home real cash in the past few years, but it's meaningful. And many of you may have seen Beth Finbow on Shark Tank recently. She started out competing in Minnesota Cup back in 2018. She had like a taped together prototype. She knew she wanted to make this product called a Busy Baby mat, but didn't have a clue where to get it manufactured or how to do any of that. And she applied to Minnesota Cup with that idea. She didn't win anything in the first season, but she came back and competed in 2018. She won, or 2019, won some cash that year as the top veteran run business, and then came back in 2020 and won the general division. And then this past year just has continued to grow and kick butt, and was just on Shark Tank and got offered a deal. So it really is something that we want to see companies come back, compete multiple times. You can't usually go from just an idea to a really like mature revenue generating business within the few months of one season. It takes longer than that, I think, for anyone, but flexible enough that we can serve people at those different stages. So when someone comes back through and competes again, they can select different mentors, or they can participate in different education sessions and really try to leverage everything that we're offering in a different way. And we love to see that. We hope, we always love to see people return and continue to improve on their journey. So then, I mentioned already, but applications are open now, and it is completely free to apply. So our applications are online, and actually it's worth mentioning that our whole competition this season will be virtual again. We are looking for opportunities to potentially offer more networking, but it's difficult to say for sure or to plan around it until the vaccines get a little further along in the state. Because we definitely want to be safe, and we don't want to be like creating any like breakouts or other issues around COVID-19. But last year in 2020, we had a fully virtual competition, and it went really well. We got great feedback from both the participants and the judges. So while we love to be together and meet in person, we know that it works to do it online. So that's what we're planning for this season too. So yeah, again, application is totally online, and they are due at midnight on Friday, April 16th. So there's still plenty of time, but highly encourage you to check it out, or at least create a profile and open up the application sooner rather than later, so you can come back to it. You don't feel like you have to cram or rush. And yeah, that's all. Again, as soon as I get into the Q&A, we can start putting more links into the chat for easy ways for you to find all of this. So yeah, that's kind of my overview. There's certainly a lot more that I could share, and I'm excited to answer some of your questions, but we really hope that you apply, really hope that you take advantage of the opportunity, and hope that we get to give away a lot of excellent prize money and give some shout outs and some great publicity and support to women-owned businesses in 2021. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can see all of your faces again and like see the chat. But I'm happy, I can totally pull something back up or refer to it if one of your questions relate to something that I put on a slide. I also am realizing that my lighting is like changing. The sun is changing. So sorry if I look like a ghost and you can't really see me. But yeah, oh, go ahead.
And Jess, I think I've been catching most of the chat. So if people, if I missed one, you can go ahead and repost it or scroll up. And then I posted links, so I'll repost them again too down here.
Amazing. Okay, well, I'm going to scroll back up to the top and see what questions people have been asking. So I'm going to start here. But if you do, once I cruise through these, if you want to actually unmute yourself and ask your question like live, you're welcome to. Some people I know and I do this sometimes too, like take your Zoom on in the car or like on your phone. So it's not always, I know it's not always easy to type into the chat. So yeah, someone asked if they'll be able to come back later because they have to jump off early. And yes, we are recording it and we will share the recording after the fact. And Jamie already answered that, so you're on it. I will, someone asked a question about where would a marketing or a design company fit within the divisions. The short answer is that it depends, which I know is not super helpful, but it might be in general and it might be in a different one. It just depends on what you're actually designing or marketing and like what the secret sauce of your business is, sort of what makes it unique or different than what's already available out there. There's all different types of companies, whether they be product or service or tech or whatever. So I think another great opportunity, and Jamie maybe has put them in the chat already, but we offer a bunch of different sessions where we do a live tour of our application. And they're usually smaller groups of people, like in the neighborhood of 20 people per time, who we literally live, Jamie or myself walk through our entire application and answer a few more nuanced questions about people who are asking things about divisions or other stuff they're curious about. So definitely recommend that you sign up for that. And we're happy to follow up with people individually if you have more advice you'd like about the division to apply to. For individuals in the early idea stage, is the competition a good place to start? Would taking some of the free training and working through the process to further vet the business ideas be more helpful? That's a super good question, Rose. I would say yes, it is helpful, even if you're in the early idea stage, in large part because you're kind of put into this environment or this challenge to meet our deadlines and sort of create the materials that we require. That we hear from a lot of people that without that deadline and without understanding that, like, wow, there are all these people supporting me and helping me, and this group of judges whose opinions I care about are going to be looking at this in a month or 2 months. So I want to put my best foot forward. People say that those deadlines and constraints really helps them. So I would say certainly there's so many other resources available out there, but I do think that we do a really good job of helping people who are even at an idea stage. Also, we have all of those free education sessions, but because of the way that our process works, unfortunately, you can only take advantage of them during the season if you're competing. Like if you are one of those top 90 companies, we offer other help sessions and support opportunities in the off season, but during that like May to September timeframe, we only have the capacity to help those companies that are competing in our process, just since we're such a small team. So yes, please sign up, because that'll be the primary way that you can actually access all of it. I'm going to see, can you compete in more than 1 year? 100%. I've shared some of those examples of people who came back year over year. I didn't even mention actually that Angie Conley, she also competed 3 times, and her 3rd time won the grand prize. And in that last year took home $105,000 across multiple prizes. So we really want people to take advantage of that and are not joking when we say it's really valuable to do once. So yes, you can definitely compete more than 1 year. The only time we ask people not to reapply is if you have won a division or won like prize money in a division. Like if you've gotten to that point where you're winning some of our bigger prizes, then we ask you not to reapply with that same business idea, because we just want to make that opportunity available to everyone and don't want sort of the same person trying to win the prize money multiple years in a row. So do you get feedback on your application if you were denied? Yes. Everybody that submits an application, if they request it, gets the feedback that the judges in their division gave to that application. So that's another really great benefit and kind of the low risk nature of what we're doing, that even if you aren't selected, people really benefit from the feedback they received, and sometimes use that or take that advice to heart and like go take that and keep working on it that like for the next year and then reapply. So it is difficult to say. I'm looking at Paula's question too. Can you give the percentages of companies that get selected in the initial round and advance forward? It's different every year. We really do have fluctuations in the number of applications we receive each season. And we also have a lot of fluctuation from one division to the next. So one year we might get the most applications in high tech. The next year we might get the most in student or the most in whatever. So it's not a super easy question to answer in a way that would be helpful to you, but in some divisions, it's more competitive than others. And it's really just about choosing a division or choosing the opportunity based on where you really see that that's where your secret sauce lies, or that group of judges is really going to understand my business or understand the market that I'm trying to sell to. So I know that that's maybe not a super helpful question, but it's we tend to have over 1,000 Minnesotans participate in the process, but that is often more than one person per company. So we have hundreds of applications every year and then bring it down to 90. So again, that's different from one division to the next, but it is very competitive, but it is certainly not impossible to get in. And just something that we want to support sort of like the most promising companies that we can every season. So yeah, Jamie has been crushing it, answering a bunch of these questions already. I'm just looking for the next one. Yeah, I mean, Jamie is just doing God's work in the chat. Someone also asked about where a fashion brand would fit in the competition. I would probably say general, but again, it depends on sort of who you're selling to, what's unique or special about your fashion company. There's so many different ways to like pursue innovation or pursue cool opportunities in the fashion industry. And so I would say off the top of my head, I would say general, since that's more of like the product-based or direct-to-consumer lane we have. But if there's any other things that are important to know, you could always attend another session and ask that question again, or just share a little bit more info with us.
And Jess, I was going to chime in because there have been probably a number of questions about division. So which division should I go into? I think Janine just asked about childcare, and I put in the link, and I'll put it again to read the division descriptions, but know that many companies probably fit into more than one division, and we let you choose. So
yeah, totally.
That way I'm banging out. It keeps getting asked in different ways.
Yeah, so. Totally. I would say that the best advice I could give for a first step of deciding which division is right for you is to go to our website. And I know Jamie put this link in there, but go to our website and check out the division pages. We have a page for each division that describes a little bit more clearly what that means, sort of what types of companies typically compete. But it is different. You know, there's not a perfect division or like a division that's a perfect niche for every single company. And that's just comes with the challenge of being industry agnostic, is that we do our best to find the right spot for everyone, but there's still a ton of variety in every division each season. So you are you're competing against companies, but like it's very, very rare, if not impossible, that those people are actually doing the same thing as you or trying to do what you're doing differently. There's still a huge variety of companies, and it is very, very common that people say, man, I could see myself in multiple places. Like I'm offering a service to humans, so maybe I should be in general, but there's also a mission orientation to my work. So should I be in impact ventures? And we certainly can help guide you and make some recommendations or try to give you the best advice, but it's ultimately your call because of like what type of, do you want feedback from someone like around those groups of judges? Do you want feedback from a group of people who know sort of like a product or a service space better? Is it more important for someone to be helpful to you or assess whether you're doing the right thing or on the right track, that they really know sort of not-for-profit and B Corp structures than impact ventures? You know, it is nuanced, or everybody has a slightly different like fitting into the right place is, it's an important decision to make, but there's also very few wrong answers. So we do put that in your court to make the final decision, but we're happy to be helpful if you're really stuck. Someone also asked about recordings for previous info sessions. Yes, we do have those, and we will be sharing them both on our website and then in follow-up emails to folks that registered for each session. We don't have them all posted yet, or maybe any. I'm trying to remember, Jamie, if we've gotten any of them up yet, but
I don't think we put any up yet.
Okay, we are a small but mighty team of just Jamie and I, and then a bunch of really lovely interns. And so our video editing is lo-fi and slow. Not meaning that the video quality is poor. We're just novice video editors. So we will have every single one of those posted to our website as soon as we can. And but if you are interested in a session in particular and you didn't register for it, or you're just learning about it and you don't see it on the website yet, you can always reach out to us over email too. And I'm gonna put that in the chat as well, our email address. So that's how to reach us directly. And then we got another question, just so I'm understanding, we should consider divisions as mentors that we will be working with. Yes and no. So we have, because we're trying to narrow down a really big group of companies that apply into like a slightly smaller group that compete in the second round, the division are actually about who's judging you or who's evaluating the companies. I think judging you sounds like negative, but they're the people who are reading your stuff and who know the industry that you're competing in and who are deciding who keeps moving forward and ultimately gets the prize money. So the judges are the people that are the deciders, and they volunteer their time and really are super caring and supportive humans, and they give really great feedback and do it because they really care and love entrepreneurs and like love to be supporting people with new ideas. But that's more how to think about the divisions. We do have a ton of really great mentorship opportunities, but the mentors usually can be accessed by anyone. The mentors aren't division specific. They're just people who raise their hand saying like, I'm an expert in XYZ. I'd be happy to help a company if they want to work with me. So yeah, I hope that helps. It's a good question though, because I know I keep saying the divisions are supportive or you get industry specific kind of experiences in each one, but it's really more how we like route people through the competition is in those nine divisions. Yeah, of course. Am I missing anything? Also, I feel like I want to remove my spotlight so that I can see all of your faces. And then if you all want to actually just ask me or like raise your hand with that little reaction thing. I can always call on you too if you want to unmute yourselves and actually talk instead of type. Someone just said that my lighting is fine, so thank you for that support. It is not what you like all with like best laid plans. You're like, where should I angle my laptop? And I feel like I get everything straightened out and then it looks bananas. So thank you. So Sarah asked, is there a reference list of these mentors? Yes, for the people that are in that second round, those 90 companies each get access to sort of our database of mentors that it's almost like a private LinkedIn that has their bios and information about them so that when they're trying to choose who they want to work with, they can learn more about who's part of it. We don't publicize that. We don't like share it on our website or anything right now publicly because we just want to protect sort of the time and space and privacy of those people that are volunteering because they raise their hand to help each season, but they oftentimes those mentors are like also working day jobs and they're busy people and stuff too, so we don't want them to get bombarded. But yeah, we do offer a lot of great mentorship opportunities to people in the semifinalist round. Oh, where do you find the help to determine what is the best division to be in? Jamie, if you have not already done this, would you put the link to the office hours in the thing or in the live application tours? So I sort of have two answers to that. I would highly recommend that you join one of our application info sessions with Jamie and I. We do them on Zoom live multiple times a week. We try for different days and times, just knowing people have a lot of commitments and a certain time might not work for everyone. So I would highly recommend that you attend one of those because it's usually a smaller group of people, so we can offer more customized advice or just like answer everybody's questions. And unlike in these, which are so great, but there's so many of you that we probably couldn't give you that one-off advice for all of you. So attend one of those if you can, and then at that point, if you've attended one of those and you're still stuck, you can email us directly at our inbox, hellomencup@umn.edu, which also is in the chat. But that's our inbox. So you can always follow up with us there if you have more questions or you need more individual help deciding. Oh, I see some hands. This is awesome. Okay, I'm gonna go to you first, Paula. If you can unmute yourself, feel free to ask a question.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. So I just want to clarify something that Jamie said in the chat. So even if we're just one person with our business, we can apply to multiple tracks?
No. So actually, let me clarify. Maybe when you apply with a company, you can only apply once with that company. So sometimes people do apply with multiple ideas or multiple businesses. And then of course you can choose different divisions, just whatever fits for those different individual concepts. So you can apply as many times as you want, as long as those businesses are different and distinct from each other. But if you are applying with the same business, you cannot apply to multiple divisions with that same company. So you do, like, it's not, then that prevents us from just the avalanche of having every single person apply to every division, and then it would just be
yeah, that makes sense. And then just a follow-up question about that. You mentioned like that some fields are more or less competitive. So like if we're on the fence, does it make sense for us to like go to a less competitive field maybe? And if so, what are less competitive fields?
Yeah, that I would say I wouldn't think about it that way. I more meant that comment in terms of like, we never know from one year to the next which divisions are going to get the most applications. So there's definitely some variability from one year to the next, like which ones get more or less, but it's very hard for us to even predict. Like for an example, in 2019, we had maybe our lowest ever year of people applying to the student division for whatever reason. It could have been the timing of when our application window was open and maybe it conflicted with people's like midterms or whatever. And I was really concerned in 2020 that we would get like almost no applications because it was the pandemic, or like no student applications because it was the pandemic and they were dealing with so much switching to hybrid learning. And then we had over 100 in the student, like people applied to the student division, which I would not predicted. So I would definitely say it's a better use of your, like it's a better strategy to just try to pick the division that you think the judges would know the most about what you're trying to accomplish or about the market you're trying to sell to. And that's going to serve you the best because then you're being evaluated by a group of people who are more likely to get what you're doing. But yeah, there probably are, but there are definitely people who try to game that system every year who like follow things and are like, but usually it doesn't work or like just isn't the right use of time and energy to try to figure it out that way. But that's a good question. Thank you, Paula. Tatiana, I see your hand raised too. Do you want to unmute and ask a question?
Yeah, so I went to the financial info session and it seems like there was a heavy emphasis on at least doing your profit and loss statement, which is remaining one of the most terrifying parts of the application for me. Is there a resource in terms of research specific to your division that would be helpful? I mean, I know you can Google things, but in terms of like pinning down definitive numbers, that's kind of tricky.
Yeah, well, again, I guess my advice is that it is really helpful and it will strengthen your application if you include that attachment, if you include some basic financial information. But I would also share, especially if you're really early stage, that to worry about having really accurate like estimates of every cost, or that you're really going to do a good job projecting what revenue you're going to earn from one year to the next. Like it's not, kind of don't sweat it or don't put too much pressure on yourself, especially when you're early stage or you don't have revenue yet, or you're just like getting started. It's really more of an opportunity to match up what your vision is that you're writing in your response with some numbers. So something as basic as like, oh, I'm going to sell something, and like, have you done your homework around what you should charge for your product or service? Like sometimes people can put a bunch of thought and they have really like interesting ideas and super cool concepts and it seems valid, but then they don't actually know how they're going to make any money or if they can. And like that's, we definitely want people to have good ideas, and we don't, it's not that like profitability is the biggest end all be all goal. Like we also want to support people who are doing really innovative things and all of that. But if you can't show that you've put some thought into like, okay, well, what will I charge? What's it going to cost me to do some of the first basic steps? Then it's just harder for our judges to really understand your strategy. So I'm kind of not really answering your question, but if you still want to like just have a one-on-one conversation or like walk through what you do know, and how to lay that out, just shoot us an email and we can try to be helpful or connect you with somebody who, because my background is not in finance, so I always hesitate to like tell someone an answer and just be, I don't want to steer anyone down the wrong path, but it is truly the goal for Monday's session was to make you feel empowered that it's worth spending a little time thinking about some of that math and just throwing it into an Excel spreadsheet that you can share with them. But it doesn't have to be super sophisticated.
And some of our participants are putting in good resources for those of you.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Looking for some. And I would also say, I can't remember if it's in this video. I'm going to put a video from our YouTube channel from our judges, so you can watch it later. You can access this from our website. In the FAQs, we answer the same question about finances, and just watch what the judges say, because we get this question a lot, and the judges do talk about how, you know, throw something together. We know it's not accurate, but we want to see just that you're thinking. So it's kind of nice to see the actual judge perspective in that video.
That's awesome, Jamie. Yeah, we and in large credit to Jamie, and a lot of it's just been really magic to have another full-time person to work with, and Jamie is amazing. So you may interact with or get to talk to either one of us during this application phase or later on. But the FAQ page that she helped to build out is really awesome. So that there are tons of questions that you all may have, or maybe you'll get into the application or you'll think of something later. Like definitely go there first. And I can even send a follow-up both with this recording to people who've registered, and also like organize some of those links for you. Because our website is as up to date as we can keep it, considering that Jamie and I are both like the webmasters too, kind of wear all the hats, but there is some great information in there. Oh, and that's lovely of you, Joy. Joy just offered to offer support to anyone who needs help building a profit and loss statement. So that's lovely. Thank you, Joy. Is there a PDF of the application? No, but we could probably get you one if you really need that to like read it. It is a very simple online form. So I would encourage you to sign up for one of those virtual application tours, and then we walk you through every part of the application, answer any questions. It usually works a little bit better and it's easier to read if you actually log in. But if you need to look at it as a PDF for some particular reason, just shoot us an email and we can try to export something for you. Oh, heck yeah. Note Writers Unite. I am really bad at thinking about what I want to say when I'm typing, which is weird. But yeah, I'm a handwritten person as well. Cool. Jamie's recorded application tour video is not very boring. She's selling herself short.
Oh, it is. I recommend watching it on 1.5 times speed until you really need to pay attention.
Okay. But still, yeah, Jamie has that pre-recorded one, so you can watch that on demand if you just want to see the basics. But it is nice to be able to do those live ones as well, just because you're talking to us in real time. And if you have a question, you can actually just ask it while we're all together. Yeah, she really is a rock star. My mental health would just be trash if she didn't work with me. So I'm very happy to have her. Is there more detail on what the divisions are looking for? I'm conflicted on what division I belong in. So it is super common to feel like you could fit within more than one division, just because since we are industry agnostic, we're really just trying to create the divisions that create some buckets. And so instead of having like companies that are radically different from each other competing against each other, it's like our best attempt to create lanes for people to go in. But there is a ton of gray area and overlap between all of them. So that's a common experience. It doesn't mean that you don't fit or that like you wouldn't be competitive in one of them, but I would attend one of those live info sessions and then reach out to us to ask, like, because sometimes to be helpful, we need to know a fair amount about your business, and not everybody wants to. One, we wouldn't have time to answer that question for every single person on here, but also sometimes people just aren't ready to tell everybody their thing on a recorded webinar. So awesome. Oh my gosh. And we are almost out of time. That's wild. This went by really fast. And I hope it was helpful. I just also can't thank WomenVenture enough for all of your support and for sharing this information with all of you. We want you to apply. We love giving money and support to women. It is really not yet equitable for women who are starting businesses compared to men. And we want to help level that playing field and offer whatever resources and support and funding that we can to all of you. So I really hope you apply. Don't be one of those people who's like, I think I'll be better positioned next year. I don't feel like I'm quite ready. Like, we always do that. It's a gender stereotype, but don't be one of those people who thinks you have to have 100% of the qualifications to apply. Because you may have some amazing idea and you might get a lot out of it this year. So thank you so much for your time. I think, again, like we'll send a follow-up email to all of you or everybody who's registered with this recording and with some of those links. So if you are having trouble like tracking back up to all the resources Jamie has been pasting into the chat, like don't fret. We will get them to you. And yeah, Kathy, apply for fun and learning. That's 100% what you should be doing. It is really fun. Sometimes, I mean, everybody's different. Some people might have different definitions of fun, but I think it is. So it is, and it's often a really cool, interesting group of human beings that you get to just connect with people you wouldn't have otherwise had in your network. So yeah, love it. And thank you all for your time, and I will let you go, but have a wonderful Thursday and good luck if you're applying, and can't wait to talk to you all again at one of these other sessions we have coming up. And thank you, Sarah. Thanks to WomenVenture for helping us host this.
Momentum awesome.
This level they have yet
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thinking